First of all, I want to say we give God the glory again today, and thank Him for another opportunity to be ambassadors for Christ. The positives from our last ball game there with Norfolk, I think the big thing is we won the game on the road, which was very, very important for us to do that early this season. Also, we improved in every phase of the game, offense, defense, and special teams. To even go a little bit further on that is I thought that in the fourth quarter we did what we wanted to get done, and what I wanted to see accomplished was defense shut down, not allowing any points in the fourth quarter. And then on the offensive perspective, we scored a touchdown in the fourth quarter. So I thought that was great improvement from the last ball game to the next ball game here, again, from the first game to the second game. I thought that we improved in every phase, and I think that was so important to us. As we go into this game against Brevard College, Paul Hamilton, their coach, has done a good job there at Division II school, who has been very competitive. I think the main thing, because they've been somewhat competitive, even when they play sometimes the FCS teams, is because of their offense. Their offense is an option game. You got to play so much discipline and being able to make sure everybody does their responsibility. I know that they're going to make this just kind of like their playoff game to come up here. They played us last year, so I know that they made a few plays here and there, and so I know that they feel that they can compete with us. Their defense is a 3-4 scheme that they play, and we saw that last week against Norfolk State, so we have some familiarity as far as alignment with our offense to get going. Injuries, Nick Falau is out. Erwin DeSources is questionable. And Kenny Scott is questionable. Keys to the game is what I think is very important for our football team is on the offensive side of the ball. I want to see us establish the run game. I want to see us being able to get four yards on first down is what I hope for us to improve on from what we have in the first two ball games. Then on the defensive side, we got to stop their fullback. That's the number one thing you have to do in the option game. And then also we got to tackle well in open field, because that's going to happen. There's going to be some one-on-one tackle opportunities, and it's a matter of whether we make that tackle or we don't make that tackle. And then also win the turnover margin. I thought we, the first game we didn't. Second game we did win the turnover margin, and I hope that we can continue to win the turnover margin as we play in this third ball game. And I have to say, finishing up here, that we are so excited to play at home. I know we have the greatest fans here in Lynchburg here, Virginia, right here at Liberty University, and so I know that we're going to see all the red here, and everybody's going to be early and loud and be 4 quarters of fury. So open up to some questions.
What can you tell us about Nicky, and does that mean Thomas Kennedy now gets elevated to fullback?
Thomas Kennedy will be our starting fullback. I think if we have to go to another fullback there, we're probably going to work out a little bit of Garrett Long as a backup fullback as we go into practice. How much we go into that, I think that'll be determined as we go later in the practice, see how much that he can handle. I'm saying Garrett Long as our backup. But, yes, Thomas Kennedy will be our starting fullback.
Coach, you mentioned Kenny Scott is questionable.
Yes.
For what's his injury?
I'm not going to give any specifics on the injury.
With a guy like Chima, I know he was kind of a diamond in the rough sort of guy. You got in on when he was hurt in high school and that sort of thing. How big is that for a coaching staff to be able to kind of ferret out these guys that may be overlooked because of that scenario in high school?
Oh, I think that's part of where we're at in football as far as in the FCS level here at Liberty University. We understand the competitiveness of recruiting, the competitiveness, particularly even across this country, particularly in the state of Texas, where almost just about every school in the country goes down there, whether they're FBS or FCS. And, again, I got to give a lot of credit to Coach Singletary. As we all know in life, a lot of times it is about relationships, and therefore he's had a relationship with the coaches down in that area. Houston Lamar High School is where Chima played at. Mark Wilson played the same high school. The coach there has been there for a long time and had a great relationship with him as far as Coach Singletary. And so, again, when some of the schools there in the FBS level decided not to go on him, then we knew we had a great chance at least to get him up on a visit. And, then after that, it's left up to God and see how it worked out. So we all want to thank God for providing Chima here as an outstanding student, an outstanding person. He is a great representation of an ambassador for Christ.
Coach, you ran more than 51 plays last week. Would we have seen more of Todd Macon in the backfield?
Will we see more of him this week?
Or last week?
Oh, last week? I think the number of plays has something to do with it. But again, DJ Abner, it's a game-by-game deal. DJ is our top guy. We want to get our rushing game going. So I think we lean more toward trying to be a little bit more consistent with him unless he needed a break. Therefore, we gave Todd an opportunity to be in the ball game. So a lot of it had to do with the number of plays we had.
Regardless of the level of the opponent, triple option offense is tough to prepare for. How much extra time have you spent, or what's different about getting ready for this kind of look?
We didn't spend a whole lot of time as far as into training camp or anything of that nature. I think it helped that we had played them last year. We kind of understood going into it this year that we know what we need to do and how we need to attack it. So I think that we're prepared for it. We always have a few little different wrinkles, and when you play somebody back-to-back years, we just got to make tackles and play our assignment football. You can't get too exotic when you're playing an option football team because they will exploit you.
Yeah, Big South Defensive Player of the Week is the defensive line. That's got to be kind of neat to have all those guys recognized for their effort.
I give an assist here to AY over here. Help us mention those guys there. But again, our defensive line, we've always talked about them a little bit there, and as far as what they do and how they do things. And again, Coach Wembley, Coach Singletary, they do an outstanding job of preparing our guys. We do feel good about their athletic, their physical. They're able to understand what the schemes are. And I think the reason why we use the term athletic, I know a lot of us coaches use that term a lot, and just so for our fans saying, well, why do we use athletic terms and how does that benefit us? It benefits us usually when somebody's athletic, they can be able to bend and get off blocks, being able to run, being able to accelerate. So when someone's a little bit more athletic, they're being able to do things that some people who are not athletic, they're not able to do physically. And so that's why we go in more trying to find some people who can run, who can have the flexibility and the athleticism that you're looking for really in any position. But D-line, if you have a good defensive line, you're usually going to have a pretty good defense.
What's John Lunsford's status now that he's unsuspended? Is he going to practice this week? How much do you anticipate him playing this week?
Well, it's competition. We're going to go through practice, evaluate every kick that happens today, tomorrow, and Thursday. We may come to a conclusion after Thursday's practice and make a decision that who's going to be the kickoff guy, who's going to be the place kicker. We may be leaning more toward him possibly being the kickoff guy, but we'll make that decision toward the end of the week. But we're really in the place kicking, there definitely going to be competition as far as in all those areas. And so I think both people need to earn that and deserve that, and we'll see how it goes at the end of the week.
How's he kind of responded to the things during the time that he's been suspended in terms of how he's practiced and how he's fit in?
I think his attitude's been great. It's been like we wanted it to be. He's been a team player. He got very minimal reps. I'm not going to say he didn't get any. He got a few reps here and there because we were preparing the guys who were going to play, and he understood that. He worked hard on his craft. He had to do a lot of things maybe on his own as far as trying to prepare himself, and when this opportunity presented itself for him to come back and be able to play in the game. And so we'll see how he responds here now. But he's been a fantastic player and a good representation of his teammates and been encouraging everybody in the first 2 weeks.
Coach, Josh has completed about 52% of his passes. Would you like to see that number higher?
The answer is yes. A lot of it I don't think has to do with him as we evaluate him personally. I know his stats say what they say, but we have counted somewhere around 10 drops in 2 ball games, and so you just add that in there. That's a whole different percentage when you look at it from that perspective. So I don't think there's anything here where we're saying that he is not up to par compared to last year. He is actually better than he was last year, and so we feel good about where he's at and where he's going, and so there's no concern about Josh Woodrum and where he's at this point in time as a quarterback.
A follow up to that, what do you think of his toughness around the red zone? I mean, getting into the end zone there on a run, and then the touchdown play with Abner.
Well, I think we had that capabilities of running him. We knew having obviously we're not going to run him 10 to 15 or 20 times in a game or something like that, but we're occasionally will have his number called, and it's a read play. He could hand the ball off. He could have pulled it, which he did pull it in this case. We know he's a tough young man. He ran the ball in high school, so that's not an issue saying that he won't run or does not want to run. And then when he needs to tuck the ball in the pocket and take off scrambling, he'll do that. Obviously, we just tell him to be smart about it whenever he's scrambling and all that. There's time to get out of bounds. There's time to go down. There's time sometimes you need to go with that extra yard. So he has all those capabilities, and I'm glad that he has those capabilities because there's going to be times where he needs to prolong a play and make plays with his legs along with his arm.
Coach, Saturday will be your 100th game as a collegiate head coach. How do you view that milestone for yourself?
First I've heard of it, actually, so I don't know. I guess, hey, it's all about the players and the coaches. It's not about me. It's about this university. It's about really about representing God, and whether it's one game, whether it's 100 games, 200 games, it's really a minute point as far as myself.
Coach, we're doing a story on Dylan and Bryant Llewellyn. What's it been like coaching them, and now with Bryant as one of your coaches? What's the dynamic like between Dylan and Bryant being brothers?
Oh, probably a little different relationship at this point in time. I guess since Brian Llewellyn's been a coach, there is a different role that both of them have to play. Obviously, maybe the situation of being respectful of the coach. I know as a brother and an older brother, as far as Dylan to Bryant, that sometimes the younger brother tougher to respect the older brother, but that's part of it. But I think they have handled it very, very well. All the players have handled it very well, but particularly those two guys, it is a unique relationship. Obviously, there's things that sometimes have been said in staff meeting rooms and so on and so forth that unable to share with his brother, and he understands that and respected that, and they both have worked very, very well. We're very happy with Brian Llewellyn. He's done a great job of assisting Coach Singletary. I give him credit, too, with the D-line of their play and what they've been doing. So we're glad to have them both here at Liberty University. Again, they're tremendous ambassadors for Christ, and they're great role models here at Liberty University.
A couple quick questions about your secondary. If Kenny can't go, who goes in there? Is that Guillory or Timon?
It'll probably like we did here in the game against Norfolk. We'll have Holloway and Guillory.
And then also, are you kind of curious to see what those guys look like against the deep ball? You haven't seen a whole lot of it yet this year. You're probably not going to see it this week, and how they'll react to defending one-on-one down the field like that.
We've had a few, situations where they've had to cover some deep balls and all those type of things of that nature. We're very pleased at what they have accomplished. Again, there's going to be more and more opportunity to present itself, but I have to say that we as a staff, we're very, very pleased of what they have shown us. And we feel good about going into this ball game and the rest of this football season that we'll put those guys in there and ready to go. We're not going to hesitate on we got to make less calls or anything of that nature because they're in the game. So the first two ball games, they've actually maybe exceeded a little bit more than what we expected.
Mentioned needing to, mentioned needing to shut down their fullback on Saturday. Who are one or two guys maybe that could make this challenging for you guys on Saturday?
You talking about their guys from the offensive perspective? Okay, each side of the ball there. I think their running back, obviously, like I said, the fullback is definitely always in an option game. You got to stop him first. But it's someone that can make something happen for him. I believe his name is Jeter. I think it's number 4 there, running back, a slot back, I guess is what you want to call it. He's the guy, their fastest guy on their team, and he had a couple of great runs against us last year. So that's one person we got to make sure we keep an eye on and stop. They also got their quarterback who was their starter last year who didn't play against us. So they're going to have a little bit more of an experienced quarterback this year playing against us. So those will be the two people that we got to stop. And defensively there, I think overall they just got an overall scheme, and we just got to making sure that we're able to run the ball against an odd front, and that's what we want to try to get accomplished.
You hit on this a little bit when you were talking about the drop passes, but is there one part of your offense that you feel like maybe is not allowing the offense to click the way you'd like to see it click?
Oh, I think I kind of mentioned in the running game. Like I see, that 4 yards, it can be even. I like overall on first down, even if it's completing a pass or even actually even running the ball. I like to see us average at the end of the day, are we at 4 yards on first down? And obviously I think we want to get the running game going a little bit better than we have in the past. We played very good two defenses as far as the North Carolina's defense was very, very good, and obviously Norfolk was very, very good too. So we take that in consideration, but we do have high standards that we're able to run the football a little bit better than what we have been.
I think the experience of playing against Irvin and the way he was able to tuck and scramble on third down specifically in that game at Norfolk State, that'll help you down the road of learning how to kind of corral that 3rd and 10 play.
Well, I think it's probably mainly a little bit of tackling. I think kind of mentioned that a little bit too against even here with Brevard, against any opponent. Again, you're not going to make every tackle in open field, and we just got to be a little bit better at that. But I give credit to them, give credit to some talent. Sometimes you have to give credit to the opponent or an individual. And Terrence Irvin did some good things there and made some good runs. So I got to give him tip my hat off to him. But also on the other side of it from us, we got to make those plays a little bit better. Again, we're not going to ever be perfect. We just want to make a few more tackles than we did in this last ball game. But overall, I'm very, very happy about our football team and where we're at and where we're going.
A little off the beaten path, but the first 3 weeks, you guys have had 3 very different extremes. I mean, you go from an ACC venue to, playing Norfolk State on the road, obviously a little bit different. Now you're coming home against a different division. I mean, just the preparation, I guess, from week to week. I mean, how is it similar? How does it change? If you could just elaborate on that.
Oh, really, our preparation doesn't change no matter who the opponent is because it's about us. Only thing is you might change a few little different schemes depending on the opponent you're playing, whether you're on the offensive side or you're on the defensive side. But as far as our preparation, we're going to be consistent and do the same thing that we're doing and trying to find out ways that we can get better as far as an opponent. Only thing that we slightly changed really more about us was our special teams. We kind of changed a little bit of doing it in the beginning of our practice versus toward the middle, toward the end of it. We just kind of broke that up, and we kind of did that last week and kind of liked that aspect of it, of preparation for our players and even our coaching staff of that nature. But as far as the 3 different types of opponents or teams and conferences and all that, we really don't make any difference as far as our preparation as far as moving into the games.